Welcome back to another Wealth Wednesday. I know we're back a little bit later today, but I'm just going to hit back to it. We had some technical difficulties and a couple of things going on, but I'm back. My name is Corey Phillips, and we have so much going on today within the markets, within the world, and I want to just continue to just empower you on how to build wealth. Share this to your friends and family for people who should learn how they can build this up in their community, how they can grow and just share this information to other people, because the more people that know this information, the more impacts that we can have worldwide. So share this out to friends and family so that they can see this and just make it so that it's accessible and we can just make this something that each and every person should know. It shouldn't be just because people don't have an opportunity or have access to resources that they shouldn't be successful. This is something that all people should know, regardless of their background, regardless of their race, regardless of their ethnicity, so that they can continue to be stay tuned in what's really happening in the markets. So getting straight into it, we've seen a lot of stuff with Greenland, United States potentially working on different ways. President Trump making a lot of claims about trying to actually acquire Greenland. But this is something that I know a lot of people might not really be taken seriously. But there's always a bigger meaning behind things. Not necessarily meaning that we're going to actually acquire Greenland as the United States, but there's a bigger reason behind many different things. This is something that's been at play long beyond 2026. There's been many different things that we've been involved with beforehand. So if you don't know, it's like a strategic play. A lot of billionaires have actually increased investment in Greenland. Billionaires like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and Michael Bloomberg have been quietly funding massive mineral explorations in Greenland, specifically through firms like Clobbered Metals. This is why, because Greenland is the next frontier for critical minerals such as lithium, nickel, cobalt, and copper, and they are essential for EV revolution and AI hardware. Trump's 2019 interest signaled private capital that the U.S. government views the island as a national security priority, de-risking massive costs of Arctic mining and foreign private investors. So that's also something that's very strategic because it's also one of the closer points as far as Russia and the United States for military conflicts and things like that. So it's able to make things cheaper long term. I don't know how ethically this may happen, who may know, but it's something that is to look into as far as the bigger reality in terms of this island. So it's very important to understand why they're doing this and many different reasons. I know a lot of this might be to ego, this might be to a specific sort of thing of being able to be successful of doing this. Who knows? But this may be something that we have to look into and acquire because it's affected the markets tremendously. Basically, a lot of Trump basically continued to pass a 200% tariffs on French wine. The stock markets went down about 600% yesterday, the previous day, because of those threats, like to European Union countries. But he later basically called off the tariffs, and the markets went up again today. But it's very important to understand that this is something that can be very volatile for the markets. We've seen this before in April of 2020, January, February, March, and April of 2025. Due to being able to cause a lot of corrections in these markets based off of things being said online with tariffs, trade. But a lot of these different things may be negotiation for future plans to be able to have more leverage for future opportunities. Who says it's ethical? I don't know. That's beyond my pay grade, but that's something that's very important to look at. And then also talking about tariffs, we look at the complete reality of tariffs right now. The recent Kiel Institute study reveals that 96% of tariff costs are being paid by the U.S. consumers and businesses, while foreign exporters are only absorbing 4%. Why is this important? Because instead of lowering their prices to stay competitive, which would absorb the tariff prices, global exporters are choosing to cut inventory or redirect goods to other markets. And since the U.S. demand for these goods remain high, domestic retailers are forced to mark up prices, effectively turning the tariff into a consumption tax for the American public. So for people who think that tariffs are good for the American people are quite wrong, because these tariffs have basically forced companies to basically increase their prices and cut their production just so they can be able to make more money and pass it down to consumers. With the United States being a consumer-led economy, Due to high demand of these products and services continuing to increase, these companies can afford to basically increase their prices because they know the consumers are going to pay more money. But for everyday Americans, this is something that's very important because most Americans are not able to adjust for a lot of these inflation and tariff taxes that are added on top of these products, making it significantly more expensive. But it's super important, like I said, you have to be able to put your money into other assets in order for you to account for inflation, because the rising price of goods and services will continue to rise, especially with geopolitical issues, with tariffs, with trade, with inflation, all these different factors. Supply chain will continue to rise the price of goods and services. Artificial intelligence, data centers, energy, all these different things cost money. And if you're not able to make your money for you, you're going to be priced out of a lot of these markets if you can't really go and put your money work for you. Things like buying a house, things like buying everyday essentials, things that you need like transportation are going to continue to get more and more expensive. And we have to invest our money so we can make sure that we can adjust to these markets. And even looking at just basically the market, the S&P 500 had its worst day on January 20th in 3 months. That was yesterday, January 20th. The why is like it's a geopolitical shock, and Nasdaq saw its worst day because it was President Trump threatened the 10%, 25% on several NATO nations, including Denmark and Germany, as leverage to purchase Greenland. Markets hate uncertainty, and that's a threat of multi-front trade war with Europe triggering sell-off in tech and high-growth stocks. Like I said, being said, it's super important that you understand that it's very important to just know that there's a lot of things going on and that no one really likes uncertainty. No one likes when one day you have a tariff, 25% on goods, and one day you don't. One day you try to buy Greenland, one day you step off. That's something that's very important because I hate uncertainty. And you need uncertainty and ensure that you are able to invest in certain assets over the course of time. So that led to things like gold. Gold has soared over 10% in the first weeks of 2026, hitting record highs around $4,800. This is why, because the stock market is getting clobbered with tariff threats and geopolitical instability. Investors are moving capital into safe haven assets. Gold is the primary beneficiary because it doesn't rely on trade policy or corporate earnings to hold its value. The 2026 rally is a direct reflection of the risk-off sentiment. Investors are scared of buying insurance for a lot of these different things. So I want you to understand, like, what does that look into specific company? We're seeing a shift in hard assets, gold, Greenland, minerals, and we're now starting to see outperforming paper assets like stocks and trades intentions return to the forefront of the economy. So for me, we like to look into what specific mining companies in Greenland are seeing the most billionaire activity right now. So the most billionaire Greenland club, who is funding this? The main vehicle for billionaire investments in Greenland is Clobbered Metals. This isn't just a mining company, it's a technology firm using AI to map out what's under the ice. The funding titans, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, Bill Gates, Microsoft, and Michael Bloomberg LP, have been primary backers since 2019 via Breakthrough Energy Ventures. The new players in 2022 to 2026 have people like Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, joined in 2022, and Ronald Lauder has emerged as major players in this month, reportedly winning a massive lithium tender in January 2026. So the main thing that they're doing this is because they want to have hunting for battery metals, nickel, cobalt, copper, and lithium to secure the supply for EV and massive power requirements for AI and AI data centers. So many different companies to watch right now. The CRML, their shares soared this week. They own Tariffs project, which is one of the world's rarest rare earth deposits. They just received a $120 million loan from U.S. Export-Import Bank. Greenland Resources Inc. They just signed a massive deal with Germany, GMH, for molybdenum, an essential high-strength defense and aerospace deal. Blue Jay Mining, Clobbered Metals' primary partner on the ground. They are exploring the Disco Nusad region and nickel and copper. Energy Fuels, UUUU, recently moved to acquire Australian strategic metals to strengthen its grip in rare earth processing, competes with China. So why is people want to understand this? Because what is this thing about rare earth materials? Because we need more rare earth materials in order for this to power things like artificial intelligence, to power your smartphones, the power to buy these chips. You need lithium batteries, you need copper, you need all these different things in order to be inside GPUs, to be in these technology for these projects. And currently, right now, China has the advantage. China has 90% of rare earth processing. By funding these projects, Bezos and Gates are attempting to build a Western-only supply chain. So if you're able to control the supply chain, you're able to have more control of your output in order to be able to build more of these different things for AI. And the Arctic Gambit is like with Trump threatening 25% on Europe and force a deal on Greenland, these mining stocks will become geopolitical proxies. If the United States gains more control, these specific companies will be likely to be primary beneficiary of government subsidies. So looking at which companies and which people are positioned as far as relationships to benefit off of things like this if this were to happen. Because acquiring Greenland, of course, they're saying a lot of stuff, but there's bigger and deeper reasons behind it, because they are betting on artificial intelligence to ensure the future of the United States. Because if the United States loses on this AI trade, they will not be able to keep up with the rest of the world. Because everyone is working and being locked in terms of building out these data centers, building out rare earth materials, building out these ecosystems so that these companies become more hopefully they become more profitable. Obviously, we don't know the full return of that, but we see that as we see these different companies. Elon Musk is locking in with SpaceX. We see potential IPOs of SpaceX, of Anduril, of Anthropic, of OpenAI. These are crucial companies that can be able to change the trajectory of the United States and the world. This is something that's very important to, like I mentioned, moving on to OpenAI. OpenAI has a valuation of about $500 billion, one of the second most valuable privately held company in the world. It's projected about $14 billion in 2026, but it may not turn a profit until 2029. It's currently burning $15 million a day just to run its video tool Sora. And it spends hundreds of billions of dollars every single day, every single year. That's why you look at different companies like Google. You see companies like Anthropic, Amazon, and Google, Anthropic are continuing to move, and Gemini are moving into this door. Like unlike Google or Amazon, OpenAI doesn't own its own data centers or chips. They have to pay a tax to Microsoft to compute power. Because like I said, Microsoft owns 49% of OpenAI. And as they try to build ChatGPT 5, the cost of training is exploding faster than the subscription revenue, creating a massive funding gap for some could predict it lead to bankruptcy by 2027 if they don't IPO or raise more billions of dollars, because they practically need to IPO because they're basically running out of cash. You need to find ways to become profitable as a business. If not, they're going to continue to just be able to not be unprofitable and not be able to dominate the sector. That's why we've seen Gemini has done exceptionally well. Facebook has almost 800 million people joining Gemini, which is increasing to close to billion, because Facebook has, no, I misspoke. Google has billions of users on this platform, and Gemini is becoming an amazing process. ChatGPT is good, but Gemini is improving, and Claude is improving. Perplexity is improving. And if they're not able to continue to stand out and become profitable, they will be priced out by other companies performing better than them. So it's very important, like the rise of these giants of Gemini and Claude. It's very important that Google's Gemini 3 and Anthropic's Claude 4.5 are effectively clobbering ChatGPT and user growth reliability right now. Since late 2025's launch, OpenAI has lost about 6% of its daily traffic to Google because Gemini is built into Gmail, Docs, and Android. Google doesn't have to acquire users because they already have 2 billion of them. So like instead of us trying to go and recruit more people to join OpenAI, Google already has that built into their ecosystem and the structures and what they're already doing. They're just integrating it into everything they already have, which is way easier. Claude 4.5 is tech-heavy users and developers are fleeing to Claude because it's widely seen as a better engineering platform and has fewer hallucinations than ChatGPT or ChatGPT 5. And Apple recently chose Gemini to power a serious overhaul, leaving OpenAI to the sidelines. It's a massive loss of default users from Sam Altman as that company in general. And why Greenland and minerals are a real wealth move is that AI software companies, OpenAI, are fighting a race to the bottom on price. People are owning the minerals. Bezos, Gates, and Bloomberg are the ones who actually win. AI is becoming a commodity. If Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT all do the same thing, the only way to win is to be the cheapest, and that kills profit. That kills profit margins. However, no matter which AI wins, they all need the same thing: hardware. By investing in Greenland minerals, nickel, lithium, cobalt, billionaires are selling shovels to the gold miners. They aren't betting on which AI model wins. They are betting on the fact that the winner will need Greenland's resources to build the chips and batteries to run it. So don't get distracted by the brand ChatGPT. The real wealth is moving forward with the infrastructure. So understand these different AI models and different ways they're being used so that you can be able to ensure your success. The fact that the winner will need Greenland's resources and across the world in order for chips and batteries to run on it. Of course, regardless of the United States may acquire Greenland is up for grabs. We don't know, but understanding that there's a deeper reason behind all of this. Another thing I want to talk on today is you all know who iShowSpeed is. iShowSpeed just hit 50 million subscribers on YouTube. He's the 21st birthday. He was live streaming in the middle of traffic in Lagos, Nigeria. And this is significant because he's the first Black individual creator to reach this milestone. And he didn't do it from a studio in LA. He did it while engaging with the most important rising market in the planet. So this is something that people need to understand, is that it's not just about, you don't need news channels. You don't need all these different channels in order to promote yourself as a creator. You can do all of this as an individual creator. So important. He's doing this all with, not even with other people like other streamers might need. He's doing it through his own personality, his own creativity, his own mindset of expressing himself in a positive way has led to him being able to explore a brand new market, a brand new culture. Because, for example, African attention economy, Speed's tour covered 15 plus countries, including Kenya, Algeria, Nigeria, and has generated over 1.2 billion impressions. This is soft power in action because traditional medias like TV and news has failed to market Africa effectively for decades. Speed's unfiltered raw streams are doing what billion-dollar campaigns couldn't. They're showing global Gen Z alpha audience that African cities are vibrant, they're tech connected and culturally dominant. A lot of people have been portrayed to Africa was just only a place of huts and people that were only living in poverty. But Africa is filled with abundance. Africa is filled with joy. Africa is filled with intelligent people building across the world. And this is something in 2026 is that attention is a new currency. And bringing 50 million eyes to the streets of Lagos and Nairobi, he's driving a massive spike in tourism and investing in digital aspirations for the millions of young Africans. Because the average age on the continent of Africa is 19 years old. And Africa is one of the most minerally rich continents in the world, filled with gold, filled with wildlife, filled with culture, filled with religion, filled with a lot of different diverse groups of people. And now different countries in different parts of the world are starting to tap into those different resources. Because the future of the world is not led by the United States. The United States has a declining birth rate and the declining population. It's not by Europe. Europe has a declining birth rate and declining population. It will be led by people who are able to win, and how Africa is able to build out and cultivate the mind of their young people. So understanding that this is something that if you're somebody who lives in the United States, it's not about what's happening here. It's thinking about, if you don't have an international mindset, you will get priced out every single time. We're not thinking that we don't need to only need ourselves as the United States. We need to understand that it's a global market, a global economy, especially as you see the devaluation of the US dollar and talent flees outside of the United States. So we continue to go into other emerging markets moving forward. So this is something super important. The creator economy boom is like $50 billion projection. Africa's creator economy is valued at $5 billion in 2025 and is projected to hit $30 billion by 2032. So it's going to go from $5 billion economy to $30 billion in 2032. And the reason why is because the demographics we discussed, the median age is 19, and Africa is the largest digital native population. And infrastructure, the billionaire mineral in Greenland's about batteries. In terms of infrastructure, where a lot of these 50 million fans are using to watch iShowSpeed. Monetization. We are seeing a shift where African creators are no longer just local stars. They're reaching global audiences, and digital payment platforms are finally allowing them to acquire them as far as wealth. So who can be able to acquire these different young people and cultivate their minds so that they can be able to go and build across where they're at? And this is something for investors. It's not about just YouTube. It's about a map for why capital is actually moving. Looking at a lot of these different companies, OpenAI is struggling because it's chasing old markets. Gemini and Claude are winning because they're integrating mobile ecosystem by using the next billion-dollar users in Africa. The hardware minerals. You can't have 50 million users live stream without high-end chips and batteries. That's why Bezos and Gates are in Greenland, and they are landlords in this digital age. The consumer, the speed effect shows the future of brand building is mobile, raw, and in the continent of Africa. If you're not continuing to build something that's authentic, you're not building something providing value, and you're not being authentic, you will get priced out of this new creator economy. With the age of artificial intelligence and all of this information, it levels the playing field. The people who are actually putting the work in, the people who are actually positioning themselves, the people who are actually changing the narrative of what actually media means and what actual way of providing information and providing value, those will be the people that will be successful. All the people that are trying to be fake, are looking for attention, are trying to just do something for quick fame and likes, are going to get priced out. That type of money is not coming to people that are going to do that. The people who are building something sustainable, a sense of belonging, a sense of culture that's actually needed. And that's where the future is headed. And if you're not able to adjust, you're not able to build on the fly, if you're not able to grow, you will be someone who will be misled into a direction where you won't see the growth that you want in your life. But my main thing for tonight is just understanding that the world is used to look at Africa for resources to extract. In 2026, the world is looking at Africa for culture. It's looking at Africa for attention, and is looking at it for growth. If you want invested in the infrastructure that supports 50 million user milestone, minerals, fintech, mobile, AI, you are missing the biggest economic shift of a lifetime. And I want you to understand that this is something that we can continue to use, that we can just like to educate ourselves. Like, for example, looking at the biggest picture, while the old world, Europe and East Asia is aging rapidly, Africa has median age of just 19.3 years old. By 2050, 1 in 4 people on the earth will be African. And that's what economists call a demographic dividend. In the West, we're having more retirees than workers, which slows down the growth. But in Africa, the workforce is expanding. This means that the massive surge in new consumers, new workers, and most importantly, digital natives who are adapting to tech faster than anywhere else. And looking from aid to investment, we look at colonialism and a lot of different things, from capitalism in the West. US, UK, Germany make up 50% of the global GDP today. That has halved to roughly 28%. The world economy is shifting toward the global south. In 2026, sub-Saharan Africa is projected to grow at 4.4%, finally overtaking Asia as the fastest growing region. So South Saharan Africa is projected to grow at 4.4%, overtaking Asia as the fastest growing region in the world. And this is something that's super important. That's why billionaires, governments are continuing to fight for critical minerals footholds, so they know that the future of consumption isn't London or Paris, it's in Lagos, it's in Nairobi, it's in Cairo, it's many different places that's going to be in Africa. The future is not in Europe, it's not in America, it's in Africa. And it's so important that in terms of, it's super important just understand just being consistent and understand why. It's super important to just be able to not just look at the past for just where everything's happening, but look at how you can navigate and adjust and learn from the past to move things towards the future. This world is a global economy. Dynamics are shifting, and there's so much distractions. If we're focused too much on things that don't actually matter, we will never be positioned where you can truly be free. We can truly think. We can truly impact the world. And the more that we expose ourselves to our environments, to different cultures, to different people, the more that we can become the greatest version of ourselves. It's time to get out of your shell, and talk to people that's in different places. Understand what's really happening, how capital is flowing. Understanding which companies are using the infrastructure to ensure the success of the world. Which countries, which parts of the world are positioning themselves to overthrow specific areas as far as tech, as far as economies, as far as people. Look at all these different things. And look how you can make a change in what you're doing in your community, in your city, in your country, in your world. It all starts with you. You don't need more cameras. You don't need more resources. You don't need more information. Everything you need is right in front of you. And it's up to you to use how you can decide how you're going to use it. And it's less about being right, but it's about how you can learn, about how you can grow, how you can use this information to change your life instead of being stagnant. Because that's really what it's all about to truly build wealth. It's not just about making money, but it's about providing yourself the opportunity, the freedom, and for you to be able to grow to where you truly desire to be. Whether you're doing this for your family, whether you're doing this for your community, or you're just doing this to become the greatest version of yourself. That's what true wealth really means to me. It starts with you. It starts with your mindset. It starts with who you hang with. It starts with the information you consume. You look at this. It's the most important time is today and truly in this environment of building wealth. And how can you make a difference? By starting yourself to start investing, to be able to go out there and create that measurable impact you can use in the world through your voice. Because each and every one of you has a story to tell, and how are you going to use it? But that's how we're going to continue to build this moving forward. I know it's going to end the show. It's almost 10 o'clock. You all make sure to like and subscribe. Show me how I can continue to help you all. Any questions, any things. I have my new Inner Circle Wealth community for people who want to join my wealth club. Feel free to join. Make sure to go to my website at coreyphillips.org. Make sure to join my community, and you will just join my Corey Phillips Inner Circle community where you all can join. I will be doing this limited time only. You never know what you'll get. I will have people join so that they can be able to learn how to invest. It's an Inner Circle personal community for people to join, refuse to settle, whether you're in college just getting started or an adult who's ready to invest in yourself. This community helps you gain clarity, build confidence, and take action towards financial freedom, no matter your background or starting point. So I will break down all of these different companies that people want to look into, what's happening in the world, and a sense of community that you can truly build wealth. Understanding that everything's happening around us, but you all need someone to help guide you in order for you to learn what's happening in the markets and how you can truly build wealth and shift your mindset. Because it starts with you. Right? It can hand you $1 million, but if you don't have the mindset or you don't have the right people around you, you're going to blow it every time. So this community is for young people and people of all ages and backgrounds who want to learn how to build wealth and change their mindset. Learn from me, myself, featured in a Black enterprise around the country, working with numerous nonprofits on how young people and people can build wealth regardless of their background. So make sure to check out my Inner Circle community for those who are interested in joining, because I will break down a lot of these different things in depth so that you can be able to make 2026 the year where you will dominate in all avenues of your life. Because the time is now. The time is up for you to stop making excuses. The time is up for you to stop saying, I'm going to wait till tomorrow. The time is up for you to stop being the same position you were last year. Because that's one thing about me. I was never in a position where I wanted to be able to just stay stagnant. You have to want change. All this stuff in wealth is not going to come easy. Everyone wants to get things quickly, but the biggest things are taking a long time. And understand that this is the most important time, the most crucial time, more information than ever, so many more resources, but we are more distracted than ever. It's not a lack of information, like an implementation. And I will break that down each and every day for people that join. $24.99 a month for people who want to take their investing seriously, see my watch list, connect with guest speakers, and grow your community today. So feel free to join. Link in my bio, coreyphillips.org. Join my Inner Circle and share this to your friends and family who need this information. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to let me know any questions. While you're here on the chat, let me know if you have any questions below. Let me know how y'all feeling. Let me know any more questions before I hop off? If not, we will continue to grow and use this information, share this to people so that we can continue to just change our lives. But again, follow me on Instagram at CoreyPhillips3. I have my inner circle community. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to go. I will make sure I will support each and every one of you all who join the community. You never know who you might meet. You never know what type of information that might change your life. That's really what it's all about, because that's the biggest thing. I started when I was 16 years old. I was working my first job at Walmart. I saw what it was like to be in a situation where you don't know what you're going to do in your life. But when I started investing, that opened my doors to more opportunities, opened my door to what the world is doing. And I expanded myself to understanding that I'm not just someone who's meant to work just a job for my life. There's nothing against working a job. You have to be been there at one point in your life. But understanding that your job is your foundation, but it's not your end goal. That is only one thing. Your job is not who you are. It's only one avenue of your life. But use that as a foundation to make money today and let your money grow in your sleep, so that you can continue to build that legacy for yourself, build that legacy for your family, build that legacy for your community that you truly desire to see. And being financially free is one avenue to get there. So I want you to just take this year seriously. Any type of one of your goals that you have, I want you to go out there and execute. I want you to go out there and change your life, because there's so much out there, so much opportunity. It's up for you to take it. And it's up for you to go and build whatever you want to have and show that resilience. Show people who you truly desire to be and who you're willing to become. It's not about being popular. You might have those people that's in your life that tell you that you're not good, but you are. You have everything inside of you need. And that's how I'm going to end this episode. Thank you all for joining my Wealth Wednesday. I'll be back a little bit earlier next week. I'll be back on time. But I appreciate you all for joining this evening. Let me know how y'all think, what y'all think. Any questions before I leave the chat? Anything that you all want to learn? Anything you have questions on? If not, I'll just conclude the live to go off this evening. I appreciate each and every one of you all, and you all have an amazing night.